What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Nikolai Espresso, and welcome back to another video here today on the channel. Today, we're not going to be taking a look at anything in particular, rather just discussing a little bit of an idea that I've had for quite some time, and I'm sure a lot of other people have thought about this as well. That is something that really stems on the idea of decreasing the amounts of annual releases for Call of Duty. Now, I detailed this in depth here, the idea of the biggest thing that Call of Duty is now facing is itself in annual releases. A couple of weeks back, maybe about a month back now at this point, but the whole idea was that it really comes down to the amount of content and the amount of time to drive that content. Creatively, you're using up a lot of ideas by putting out a brand new game every single year, and on a development standpoint, you only have a certain team per each annual release. Sure, you have 3 years to work on it, but it still puts a lot of pressure on the development teams. That said, I want to kind of take a little bit of a different approach to that idea in this video and describe what I think could be something that would make the Call of Duty games flourish in the years moving forward. Now, do I think this is ever going to happen? Not necessarily, at least not until the next time around where an Infinity Ward game would be happening, because Black Ops 3's finalization here definitely then warrants Treyarch moving forward into their next title, and Sledgehammer obviously already has theirs ready for this coming year. So the next real big leap here in development process would have to be at the earliest with Infinity Ward, but even then I don't think it's going to be something that really happens, but rather it's an idea that I'd love to get your feedback here on and whether or not you think this would be cool or not. So the idea is based around switching from annual releases, so a Call of Duty game every single year, to a game every 3 years and have a constant dev cycle, and this then could open up a lot of different opportunities for players and the development teams. Now this might seem a little bit weird to say whenever we've had an annual release every single year since the very beginning of Call of Duty, and as a result it would definitely seem very foreign to everybody that is very invested into the game, both development wise and also player base wise. The way that I think this could work is that it would be one game every 3 years, but with constant DLC, and then this has every single studio jumping in for one collective project, one Call of Duty game that would combine elements of every single one, essentially. Not necessarily, say, boots on the ground, exo jumps, thruster movement, wall running, things like that, but rather the fortes of each studio combined into one single package that then brings the experience to a brand new level. If you think about it, say Treyarch Zombies, Infinity Ward multiplayer, Sledgehammer Games storytelling ability with the campaign, and then Raven's checks and balances on everything to keep it all level-headed. That would be actually pretty awesome. Now, obviously, these wouldn't necessarily be 100% strictly that you could have a different idea and combination for what each development team does for each part of the game. That's something that it's all completely up to you, and because it's not something that probably will happen, it's all in theory, so it doesn't really matter at this point. But the idea, the general terminology and thought process behind it would be that one studio takes one section of each part of the game. So Zombies multiplayer story. It would have full development studios working on each core process, and then instead of a team developing a whole package, it develops one smaller minute part, so that those minute parts, the subsections of the Call of Duty game, would be a lot more focused because there's a lot more people working on it and a lot better in terms of how much content there is. And of course, with things like the campaign, with zombies, with multiplayer, there's different subsections of each, and therefore have a lot more rich story behind it, a lot better gameplay experience, and offers a lot more to players in terms of what they could see for each release. The way that I see it, annual releases definitely come under stress for each potential singular mode within each game, because you don't have as many people as you possibly could if you combined all 3 studios into one giant project and had each of them work on each subsection of the game. Whenever you take the full development team of one studio and then have them manufacture 3 things, whereas they could be working on one, you can definitely see where things could probably be improved on over time. But that said, though it probably won't happen anytime here soon, if at all ever, I think this would definitely be very cool to look into, and honestly, as a COD fan, I would not mind it. Personally, and this is just 100% my opinion, I loved Black Ops 3, I still play it, and I plan on playing it more into the future, and that game, if it still had support in terms of, say, multiplayer DLC, Zombies DLC, I'd play it for another year, maybe 2 years if that were the case, because I just loved the game. I had a ton of fun here with it. Zombies definitely kept me intrigued whenever I wasn't really into multiplayer. The campaign was absolutely riveting once you actually were able to decipher the true meaning of it, but it is something that I would definitely play that for absolute ages to come. And if this were to say last for 3 years and have other developers working on it, I think it'd just be an even better experience. And when you take a look around at the gaming world, games like GTA, Fallout, Skyrim, games like that, the big core hitters with all these massive followings, they're never annual releases because that just works the teams too much to bring out an entirely amazing game in absolutely every aspect. Don't get me wrong, once again, I was a huge fan of Black Ops 3. I like Modern Warfare Remastered, and I like Infinite Warfare for what it is, but it is definitely something that if there was more development time, those things that maybe were lackluster a little bit here and there definitely could be polished off and made to be amazing. So that said, it's just something that I've thought about recently, and of course, I have thought a lot about it in the past as well, but I wanted to bring my thoughts here on this to you guys. What would you guys think if we got a Call of Duty game every 3 years rather than every year? Would you guys be on board for that? Would you guys not want to see that? Or what are your thoughts here on it? Do you guys agree with my theology on it? Do you guys agree with my viewpoint on it? Or do you totally disagree with it? Whatever it is totally okay and totally acceptable, and of course is always welcomed. But that's where we're gonna wrap it up, so hopefully you guys did enjoy, and if you guys did, make sure you drop a like down below, and of course if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe to stay up to date with everything Modern Warfare Remastered, Infinite Warfare, Black Ops 3, and anything Call of Duty related. And finally, if you guys want to follow me over on Twitter, that is the best place to get in touch with me. I practically live over on Twitter, so if you guys want to just have a casual conversation or whatever it may be, Twitter's the best place to do so, and that link is down there in the description. But thank you dudes so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Mine has been Nikolai Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.